Hey guys, just the Springbok team's been announced. What a team! Certainly not something we'd expected, not something we would have predicted, or I would have predicted at all for the second test. I know Rossi said on Saturday he was probably going to make some changes, but I think most of us are a bit stunned by that. What a bold team! What a really, really bold team that he selected, and well, Project 2027 is alive and well. This is definitely going to be a backline that probably, in a couple of people's minds, could be the team for 2027. Obviously, some of the double World Cup winners are still going to be around, but this is certainly a team for the future, a backline. And when last did you see a Springbok team without Eben Etzebeth for a test? Without Andre Pollard, without Jesse Creel, without Damien Delendo, without all of them at once. Usually there's been a couple of them, and I think that's one of the concerns is maybe there is a lack of leadership in this team, but it's extremely exciting. A lot of talent in this team, and a lot of one of those teams that can go very well and hit their straps, but it can be also one of those teams that things can go horribly wrong as well. So it's interesting. We've got to think that there must be method in the madness. I'm sure Rassi would do that. His view said in the press conference straight afterward his team announcement that he was looking to a team to put some of these players under pressure in New Zealand because they'd only played the All Blacks in New Zealand again in 2 years' time in the World Cup year. So you can understand this is a pressure test. It's a pressure cooker for the guys, and they want to see how they're going to do. So certainly one that stunned us. I've got to give him that. And the Russie keeps on surprising us, I suppose. I think the first thing to say, though, is that there's obviously was a disappointment on Saturday. The way the Boks let the All Blacks get a 14-point start, and that through mistakes by some of your most experienced players. And Nick Miller talks a lot about this in his chat with us on Talking Box, which should be up pretty shortly as well. Just thought it's easy to get this video up first because the team's just been named to try and get it out as quickly as possible. But Nick does talk about that quite a bit in that. So have a watch that if you haven't already. Just looking at that, I think that disappointment over there because the Boks did come back well. They did show that fortitude, and those guys on the bench really did exceptionally well on Saturday. So to fight back, it wasn't enough. The All Blacks still were deserved winners, and I thought it was pretty decent second half performance by the Springboks there. But they'd lost it in the first half. So, and again, I'm not going to entertain any conspiracies, but referees and stuff, decisions go for you and decisions go against you in the game. You got to deal with what you can deal. What the Boks can deal with is their own mistakes, which they can sort out as well over the next week as well. The amount of obstructions, the amount of missed lineouts, the amount of missed opportunities, handling errors has been a problem for a while now for the Springboks. So this is certainly a very bold team that they've selected. Siya Kolisi returns as captain. That's the first thing to note. And then the rest of the team. Let's go through it because it's quite a bold one. Going into this test, and I think there's a lot of excitement, but a little bit of concern that can also be there. Yeah, so here's the team, and what better than to see a smiling Oxenchair there. Now, I think let's start right in the front row. Oxenchair, Malcolm Marx, Thomas du Toit kept the same front row. Very interesting to me. I would have thought Wilco Louw should have been on there. Nick also mentioned that in his chat with us. Wilco Louw certainly made a huge difference when he came on in the second half. But maybe that's the thought is maybe they want the scrum to finish strong. It must be a mobility thing. That's the only thing I think that Thomas du Toit could probably trump Wilco Louw. Maybe it's also just a experience thing because Thomas du Toit's been around the team a lot longer than Wilco Louw. So maybe that's what it is. But when last did you see a team that doesn't have an Eben Etzebeth in number 4? Lood de Jager coming in at 4. Ron Nokia keeps his spot. Quite interesting that one. That just the sheer thing of not having Eben Etzebeth in the starting lineup. There could be several reasons for this. It could be that Eben's just getting a rest, or they want to see how the team does without Eben. But for such a big game, and especially after the loss, one of the things that if they lose this one, then they've lost 3 of their 4 games in the Rugby Championship. So this is a huge game, and you'd want your big name players to be there. And the fact that Eben's not there is quite an interesting one as well. We didn't really get a chance to ask it. Unfortunately, these press conferences are quite fast, and you don't get a chance to answer a question. I certainly didn't. I had my hand up and I didn't get an opportunity. And hopefully the guys in New Zealand did ask the question. We'll see a bit later. But certainly, Eben's absence is something that's really seismic in this team. Now, Lourdes Jager did bring a lot of energy onto the field when he got onto the field and did very well. And Ron Nokia certainly did very well as well. So maybe there's a message there. I don't know. I'm speculating here now. We may be able to see that, and maybe there wasn't. But that's certainly something that we didn't expect. In the loose trio, Jasper Visser comes back. That was expected. I think Jasper's going to be raring to go. I hope he can keep his head, obviously, because his temper has been something that's sort of cost him in the past. But he's certainly been waiting around for 6 weeks to train and and to get back involved as well. So Sia's back there as well. Sia's back as captain. I think that'll leave him with a bit of sort of good older heads there. Jasper is a guy that you need for that go forward ball. But yeah, just the loss of Eben and not seeing Eben in the Springbok team is something very interesting for most of us. Good that Peter Steph de Toy is there, and that rounds up that loose trio. Looks a lot more balanced on the face of it than previously. It's going to be interesting to see how that affects the scrum as well without Eben there as well. But certainly that's the one name that's really missing there. And I think I'm not sure if we have to read into that, but certainly Eben had a quieter test in Auckland. And maybe there's nothing to it. Maybe that's just that. But that's very interesting forwards. Of course, Grant Williams struggled a bit as well. Didn't probably have his best test. And interesting that he's been dropped to the bench. I think that's probably just because Kobus Reinach one did very well coming on the second half, and also is the guy who brings a lot of experience. So maybe that's what that is more than anything. And Rossi wanted to put an older head next to Sasha, and I think the fact that Sasha is starting is very bold, because if you're going to go and play Tony ball rugby, he's the guy. He's probably the one guy who can do it in the long term as well. So he provided a lot of energy in the second half. Andre Pollard is the banker, and it's certainly interesting not seeing a Andre Pollard in a match day 23, especially against the All Blacks. You would have thought that, but I suppose the Boks have to see what they've got going ahead. It's just very high risk, high reward, or high risk game to do it in, and I think a lot of South African fans will be quite surprised at that. Another one that we haven't seen for a long time is no Jesse Kriel and no Damien de Lende in a backline. Now Damien Willems is there and Ethan Hooker. That's extremely young. I say Damien Willems and Kainan Moody. Now they've both played 12 for the Boks, 12 and 13 for the Boks. Kainan Moody played at 13 when the Boks had that huge win at Twickenham, scored a lovely try there as well. So they certainly can play it, but it's an interesting one because you almost feel that Damien de Lende and Jesse Kriel are the rock in the Bok team. Jesse's was captain last week. He's also the defensive captain, and he's the guy who's probably the most important to the Springboks in terms of defence. Whether that's now part of the factor, maybe the Boks just want to see where they're going with this, but it's certainly seeing him, that change in the team is very interesting as well. There's we're not used to not seeing those names in there, and it feels, while it's very exciting, Damien Willems is a guy who can win a game on his own quite easily. And Kainan Moody the same. It does feel like, I don't know. It's just, I think it's exciting, but there's a bit of trepidation there as well. Because on defence, how good are they as a combination? I think that's the bit of the worry as well. Looking at the back three, I mean, Cheslin Colby keeps his place there. Apelele Fassi as well. I think after Villiers' mistake there on that first try, you've got to back Fassi as much as possible. And I think the one interesting thing here is that we've got now three playmakers. Fassi's seen, anybody who watched the Tony Brown video last week that I put up, he spoke about Fassi being the second playmaker and how they want to bring him more into this. Well, now they've got three. They've got Damien Willems, who can also act as a third playmaker for them. And that's quite interesting as well. Ethan Hooker certainly has taken his chances as a guy who they believe is going to play a lot of rugby for the Springboks in future, and certainly gets a chance to impress. And he's a physical player. He'll do very well on the wing. Don't have any qualms there at all. Let's look at the bench. Marnus van der Merwe as the replacement hooker. Jan-Hendrik Wessels, of course, did very well when he came on as replacement hooker, but he's obviously replacement Lucid. Wilco Low, obviously there as well. That's an interesting front row, very young front row, or a youngish front row, an inexperienced front row coming on the second half, but certainly one that can have power and can make an impact on the field. Ergis Snyman, the super sub, Quacker Smith, 5-3 bench as well. No surprises there. Grant Williams, Mani Lebok gets another chance. And I suppose this is very much an indication that they're going to play Tony Ball as well. And Andre Esthuizen, of course, Andre Esthuizen gives you the option of being a hybrid 6-2 bench as well, and he could go to the forwards as well. But certainly he's a big ball carrier, and he'll make an impact as well. So, interesting team all round. What are we to make of this team overall? Well, Rossi did say that he wanted to give a lot of these guys a chance to play under pressure in New Zealand, and they're certainly going to find the pressure on Saturday as well. There's a lot of pressure on the Boks to return to winning ways, and Wellington has been a ground that's really been good for them in the past as well. They've drawn there and won there under Rossi as well before, and the Boks probably feel quite confident. They probably feel the energy from last week, even though they lost the game. They probably feel quite confident with the way they played the last 60 minutes. It's a tough place to play. The All Blacks will be up for it. If they can get 2 over the Boks at home, they'll be quite happy. And then but also if this team fires, what does that say about the older guys? I think it will probably give Rossi a lot more license to move on from some of the older guys if that happens. And maybe that's part of the gamble of playing them. But sometimes you've got to roll the dice. Sometimes you've got to give the younger guys a chance. And as they say, you've got to fire some shots. So this team will definitely fire some shots. On defence, that's the concern. But always happy to be wrong, so it's going to be interesting to see. But I can't wait to see what happens with this test match, because this certainly was something we didn't expect from the Springboks, and it's going to be interesting to watch. So let me know your thoughts as well. If you haven't already, please smash that subscribe button. Also, if you can, give the thumbs up. It always helps grow the channel, gets into more of the algorithm and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, just tell me what your thoughts of this, because I must admit this morning I predicted probably Jasper coming back. I predicted probably a change at Flav. I thought Sasha might come in. I thought they might even play Faf at scrum off just to be a bit more tactical. But I didn't expect that backline to come in. Didn't expect no Eben Etzebeth, no Damon Delenda, no Jesse Creel, no Andre Pollard. It's not something you see often from a Rossi Erasmus team. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching. There'll be more videos as we go along in the week. Please keep an eye on the channel. But cheers. Thanks for watching.